The hearing will come to order. And I thank members for being here. I think many of us are still trying to process what happened yesterday with the assassination of young Charlie Kirk. Today is also the anniversary of 9/11. On the morning of 9/11, I was meeting with the Secretary of Defense at the Pentagon when that attack began in New York, and I had just left the Pentagon when it happened there. And so I think we were all stunned by the acts of political violence that have occurred over the past year and more. And so if it's all right, let's pause for a moment of silence in memory of all that has occurred to us and our country. Thank you. This morning, the committee meets to consider the nomination of General Christopher J. Mahoney for the position of Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Before we begin, we've done the moment of silence. Let's turn to today's business now. General Mahoney has a tremendous responsibility before him. I believe President Trump has made an excellent choice in selecting him for his role. His fellow service members tell us he's an admirable leader. We live in the most dangerous national security moment since World War II. I've said this at the beginning of almost every hearing we've had this entire year. An axis of aggressors led by the Chinese Communist Party and Vladimir Putin's Russia means us harm. Our adversaries have started wars against Ukraine and against Israel, and now they threaten to open a third front against Taiwan. There's also the fourth front within our own hemisphere as Chinese fentanyl flows into America amid the cartel's murderous drug and human trafficking operations. In the Middle East, President Trump launched Operation Rough Rider against the Iran-backed Houthis. This strengthened historic U.S. partnerships in the Gulf. During his visit to the region in May, the president signed deals totaling $2 trillion. Most significantly, the president backed his commitment that Iran would never be permitted to develop a nuclear weapon. He took action in June, striking Iran's nuclear sites. In the Pacific, China's military activities are at an all-time high. China is reflecting what Admiral Paparo has described as a, quote, rehearsal for war. Senator Fisher and I saw these preparations firsthand during a recent trip to the region. We encountered resolute partners in Taiwan, Palau, and the Philippines. These friends are willing to share the burden of deterring the Chinese Communist Party from aggression. Xi Jinping also remains the largest backer of war criminal Vladimir Putin's quest to prolong the bloodshed in Ukraine. President Putin has chosen to put Russia on a wartime footing. If we are to prioritize dealing with the threat from China, we will need a strong transatlantic alliance capable of deterring Russian aggression. President Trump affirmed his commitment to European security at the NATO summit and catalyzed a new era of rearmament among NATO allies. And this committee, up and down both sides of the dais, has been part and parcel to that. In our own hemisphere, President Trump has restored security at our border. In short, President Trump has shown that America first means American interests first, and American interests are not confined to a single continent. To protect these interests, including peace and prosperity for Americans, the Pentagon requires a sustained trillion-dollar budget alongside fundamental reform of its acquisition and budget processes. If confirmed, General Mahoney will lead a crucial portion of this reform. Our military's process for generating requirements for our warfighters. The Vice Chairman leads the Joint Requirements Oversight Council. Today, the Council takes an average of 800 days simply to approve the military's need for a weapon system. 800 days. That's way too long. With technology and threats moving quickly, we can no longer spend years debating what the perfect solution will look like 5 or 10 years in the future. The Forged Act seeks to streamline the bureaucracy, and this committee is leading the charge for that in the fiscal year 2026 National Defense Authorization Act. If he's confirmed, I look forward to working with General Mahoney to make progress in this era. General Mahoney is exceptionally well qualified to take on these challenges as Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. His decades of leadership in the Marine Corps have trained him to understand the value of joint warfare in light of the complexity of the threats our nation faces. I also know the President will benefit greatly from his candid advice. With that, I turn to my friend